Yo, today about to be reacting to the worst deaths in every sport. Now, before we do start, nobody likes to see death. RIP to all these people that tragically lost their lives doing what they love to do. But let's see, man. I'm genuinely curious. Which sport had the worst
Jack
death
Trice,
indeed?
American football. On October 6, 1923, Jack Trice took the field as Iowa State's starting defensive tackle.
Jack Trice.
He stood 6 feet tall and weighed 200 pounds. Early in the game, he sustained an injury to his shoulder during a collision, but he kept playing. In the third quarter, Jack attempted a rolling block on an offensive play. He landed on his back. Several Minnesota players trampled over him. Their cleats tore into his abdomen and chest.
Ooh.
The weight crushed down on his internal organs. Jack could not get up. His teammates helped him off the field.
Then they didn't have the technology to even see what was wrong or treat it how it's supposed to be treated. This is crazy.
Doctors examined him briefly on the sideline. They saw the shoulder injury, but missed everything else happening inside his body. After the game, Jack was taken to a Minneapolis hospital for evaluation. Doctors cleared him to travel. They told him to rest. The team boarded the train back to Ames that evening. Jack lay on a makeshift straw mattress in a railroad car. The train rocked and swayed through the night. Nobody realized he was dying. The overnight journey was rough. Trice began having trouble breathing. When the train arrived in Ames on Sunday at 1 a.m., he was immediately taken to the campus hospital. His condition worsened throughout the day. Doctors discovered his injuries were far more severe than initially thought. His collarbone was broken. His abdomen and intestines.
Bro, how do you miss that as a medical professional? How do you miss that? The people that was on the field, bro. If I was the family, I was
So severely damaged that surgery was too dangerous to attempt. Internal bleeding was spreading through his body. On Monday afternoon, October 8, 1923, around 3 o'clock, Jack Trice died from internal bleeding due to severe abdominal injuries.
Man.
If you get stuck on a melody, or if you just feel like you can't get a song started,
I'm gonna get an ad blocker
Output's
when I get my
co-producer
songs. Don't worry
is
about it.
Lane
But no, bro, I'm definitely suing because ain't no way. Ain't no way.
Frost, bull riding. On July 30th, 1989,
Bull riding is something that I would absolutely not do, bro. So much stuff could go wrong in bull riding, but we about to see one of the incidents.
Lane Frost walked through the gates at Cheyenne Frontier Days in Wyoming. He was 25 years old and one of professional rodeo's brightest stars. He had won the world championship in 1987, and people recognized him wherever he went. That afternoon, the draw assigned him a bull named Taken Care of Business. The bull had a reputation among riders: big, strong, unpredictable. But Frost had ridden tougher bulls before. Behind the chutes, Frost prepared his equipment. He wrapped his hand in rosin. He adjusted his rope while other cowboys wished him luck. The crowd noise grew louder as his ride approached. The gate opened and Taken Care of Business exploded into the arena. The bull bucked and spun. Frost's
How long was he on for, though? Let's see.
moved with the bull's rhythm. Riders need to last 8 seconds on the bull. The clock ticked down and the buzzer sounded. Frost had made a successful 85-point ride. He dismounted and landed on his feet in the dirt. The ride was over. The bullfighters were moving in to distract the animal. That was when something unexpected happened. Taken Care of Business turned back toward Frost.
See, bro, why is he celebrating? Okay, RP Frost, but it's like, dog, why are you celebrating inside the, inside the cage? You have too much trust in them. You have too much trust in this hunk of meat right here, in this piece of steak.
Normally, bulls are expected to run away after a dismount, but this one came back. It lowered its head and drove its horn forward. The horn struck Frost in the back with tremendous force. It penetrated his body and tore through his internal organs. The impact lifted him off his feet and threw him forward into the mud. Bullfighters rushed between Frost and the bull. They waved their arms and shouted to draw the animal away. Medical personnel ran into the arena.
late for that,
Frost
man.
lay face down in the dirt. He was not moving. The paramedics turned him over, but his face was covered in mud. He was not breathing. Lane Frost was rushed to the hospital, but was pronounced dead shortly after arrival.
Damn. Celebrated too early, bro. Damn.
The horn had caused massive internal hemorrhaging. Philip Hughes, cricket. On November
I don't
25th,
even know how to play cricket. I heard about, you hear the word cricket, but it's like I never.
2014,
know
Philip
how to play
Hughes
this.
arrived at Sydney Cricket Ground for a domestic Sheffield Shield match. Hughes was 25 years old when he played for South Australia against New South Wales. He was also a member of Australia's national team. This was supposed to be routine, just another domestic match. A few moments later, the New South Wales bowler Sean Abbott began his run-up. He released the ball. It was a bouncer designed to rise toward the batsman's chest and head area. Hughes read the delivery and decided to play a pull shot. He tried to hit the ball to the leg side, but he misjudged the bounce slightly. Instead of the ball arriving at chest height where he expected it, the ball rose higher. The ball struck the left side of Hughes's neck just below his helmet, rupturing his vertebral artery. The spot was unprotected.
Ooh. Then given a time, they don't have the right medicine to treat that.
It was at the base of his skull, where the neck connects to the head. Hughes collapsed immediately. The ball had struck him in what medical experts call a kill zone. Paramedics worked on Hughes at the scene, but his brain was bleeding. He was later transported to St. Vincent's Hospital in nearby Darlinghurst. Surgeons operated to relieve pressure on his brain, but the bleeding would not stop. He died on November 27th, 2 days after being struck and 3 days before his 26th birthday.
Damn, bro. Happy belated birthday to you, bro. But damn.
Hank Gathers, basketball. On March 4th, 1990.
Hank Gathers. I felt like his heart was probably too big. I don't know.
Hank Gathers jogged onto the court at Gersten Pavilion in Los Angeles. Loyola Marymount was hosting Portland in a West Coast Conference tournament game. The crowd was loud. The atmosphere was electric. Gathers was 23 years old and one of college basketball's most dominant players. Then,
23 playing in college.
The game tipped off. Loyola Marymount played at a frantic pace. They ran constantly, fast breaks, full court pressure, up and down. Gathers thrived in this system. He scored. He rebounded. He dominated. Early in the first half, teammate Terrell Lowry threw an alley-oop pass toward the basket. Gathers rose up and caught it. He threw down a powerful dunk. The crowd roared. Gathers
I knew it was coming this way.
Began jogging back on defense.
Okay.
That was when his legs gave out. He fell forward onto the court. His body went limp. Teammates thought he was joking at first. Gathers sometimes clowned around, but this time was different. He was not moving. Coaches ran onto the court. Medical staff rushed over, but Gathers had
Did he just have like a stroke or a heart attack or something?
unconscious. They began CPR immediately before paramedics arrived and took over. Paramedics worked to revive him before transporting him to Marina del Rey Hospital, where he was pronounced dead less than an hour later. The cause was hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. His heart muscle had grown abnormally thick.
So this was that. I was saying that like right before this segment started. I know I heard something about this. His heart was too big, and then, too much blood.
The condition restricted blood flow and caused fatal arrhythmia. The game was never finished. Ayrton Senna, Formula One. On May 1st, 1994...
Formula One. I'm not driving on F1. I drive F1 car on the track by myself, but racing, man, y'all are strong.
Senna climbed into his Williams-Renault FW16 for the San Marino Grand Prix at Imola, Italy. He was 34 years old and a three-time Formula One world champion. Senna was considered one of the greatest drivers in racing history. The weekend had already been marred by tragedy. On Friday, driver Rubens Barrichello crashed heavily during practice. On Saturday, Austrian driver Roland Ratzenberger died after a crash during qualifying. Senna was deeply affected by Ratzenberger's death. He visited the crash site that evening and spoke with race officials about safety. He questioned whether racing should continue, but the decision was made. The Grand Prix would proceed. Then came
If you had a good feeling of uncertainty, maybe you should have pulled out that one race. Or just took it lightly.
Day with a heavy atmosphere. The start was chaotic. Multiple crashes on the first lap brought out the safety car. When racing resumed on lap 5, Senna led the field. On lap 7, he approached the Tamburello corner at approximately 192 miles per hour. But something doesn't feel right. Senna's car failed to turn. It continued straight off the track. He tried to brake. The car slowed to approximately 135 miles per hour.
Crash into the wall at 135, that's instant death.
Before striking a concrete wall. The impact was violent. The car's right front wheel and suspension were torn off. One end of the suspension penetrated the cockpit and struck Senna in the head with devastating force. The race was stopped immediately. Medical personnel extracted Senna from the wreckage, but he was already unconscious and not breathing on his own. A medical helicopter transported him to Maggiore Hospital in Bologna. Doctors worked frantically, but Senna's injuries were too severe. He had sustained a fatal skull fracture and massive brain trauma. Ayrton Senna was pronounced dead at 6:40 p.m. Benny Kid Parrott, boxing. On March 24th,
died in boxing. So if you kill somebody in a boxing ring, would that be considered like a homicide?
1962, Benny Parrott climbed into the ring at Madison Square Garden in New York. He was defending his welterweight title against Emil Griffith. This was their third fight. Each man had won once. The rivalry had turned bitter after Parrott called Griffith a derogatory slur at the weigh-in.
What?
The rivalry had turned bitter after Parrott called...
I don't know what that word is. Yeah, I don't know what that word
Griffith
is.
a derogatory slur at the weigh-in. The fight began with both men trading punches, but by round 12, Parrott was exhausted. Griffith, seeing an opportunity, trapped Parrott against the ropes in a neutral corner. He unleashed a rapid barrage of over 24 punches in seconds. Parrott's head snapped back with each blow. His arms dropped and his legs buckled, but the ropes kept him upright. Griffith kept punching. The referee finally stepped in and stopped the fight. Parrott collapsed unconscious. He was carried from the ring on a stretcher. An ambulance rushed him to Roosevelt Hospital. Surgeons operated
swelling on the brain. Come on,
to relieve pressure, but the damage was too severe. Benny Parrott never regained consciousness. He remained in a coma for 10 days. On April
10 days in a coma. Oh my goodness.
3rd, 1962, he died from a massive brain hemorrhage. Nodar Kumaritashvili,
RP him, bro.
Lug. On
The fuck is Lug? Hey, y'all.
My energy bill dropped from $150 to $50 by doing this. My friends laughed at me when I spent $49.
February 12, 2010, Nodar Kumaritashvili prepared for his final training run at the Whistler Sliding Center in British Columbia, Canada. The 2010 Winter Olympics opening ceremony was scheduled for that evening. The world's media was gathered. Athletes from every nation were preparing. Kumaritashvili was 21 years old from the country of Georgia. He competed in luge, one of the most dangerous sports in the Winter Olympics. Riders lie on their backs on a small sled and slide down an icy track at speeds exceeding 90 miles per hour. There is no braking, no steering wheel, just subtle body movements to guide the sled. The Whistler track,
no, y'all talented. Y'all got it.
the fastest luge track ever built. It featured 16 turns and dropped 499 feet over nearly a mile of ice. Multiple athletes had crashed during training in the days before. Several had expressed concerns, but Olympic officials said the track was safe. Around 10:50 a.m., Kumaritashvili pushed off and began his run. His sled accelerated down the ice. Turn after turn passed. His speed increased with each section. By turn 16, he was traveling approximately 90 miles per hour. Coming out of turn 16, his sled lost stability. The runners caught an edge on the ice. The sled began to wobble. Kumaritashvili tried.
Imagine hitting the wall at 90 miles per hour in a car. So you know how that could make a car look. Think about a human body. Probably going
Correct
to
it.
splat.
But at those speeds, small movements become amplified.
Yeah.
The sled veered left toward the outer wall of the track and struck an unpadded steel support beam just beyond the outer wall of the track. The impact was violent. Medical personnel rushed to him immediately, but Kumaritashvili had sustained massive blunt force trauma to his head and torso. The head injuries caused immediate death.
RPM, man.
Marco Simoncelli, MotoGP. On October 23, 2011, Marco Simoncelli lined up on the starting grid at Sepang International Circuit in Malaysia. He was 4 years old.
I can't ride a motorcycle yet, but even when I learn how to, I still wouldn't race like this. Maybe on a track by myself, but bro, hell no.
Known for his aggressive riding style and his wild curly hair that flowed out from under his helmet. Fans loved him. Fellow riders respected him. At the beginning of the race, everything looks calm. No incidents. The riders settled into their rhythm. Then, lap 2 began. This was when things started taking a tragic turn. The field approached turn 11, a medium-speed right-hand corner. Simoncelli was in the middle of the pack. He leaned the bike over to begin the turn. Then, his rear tire lost grip. The back of the Honda slid sideways. Simoncelli felt the slide and tried to save it, but the bike slid sideways directly across the racing line. Other riders were coming at full racing speed. There was no time to react, no time to brake, no time to swerve. Colin Edwards was directly behind. His bike struck Simoncelli's body. Valentino Rossi was also beside Edwards. His bike struck Simoncelli's helmet. Both
He got hit by 2 motorcycles and he fell off a motorcycle. R.I.P. him. I gotta see these
impacts
injuries.
occurred at approximately 75 miles per hour. The force tore Simoncelli's helmet off his head. His body tumbled across the track. Bikes and riders slid in multiple directions. Debris scattered everywhere. Race control immediately red-flagged the race. Medical personnel ran onto the track, but Simoncelli had already sustained massive head, neck, and chest trauma. He was transported to the Circuit Medical Center. Shortly after arrival, Marco Simoncelli was pronounced dead. Marc Vivien Foé, soccer. On June 26, 2003, Cameroon faced Colombia in the
Soccer.
FIFA Confederation.
How did he die in soccer? Same situation with the basketball team? Let's see.
Cup semifinal at Stade de Gerland in Lyon, France. The evening was warm. The stadium was full. This was an important match. The winner would advance to the final. Marc-Vivien Foé played defensive midfield for Cameroon. He was 28 years old and one of Africa's best players. He had played for Manchester City in England and was on loan to Lyon. He was experienced and fit. He ran constantly during matches. The game was physical and competitive. In the 72nd minute, Foé was jogging back toward his defensive position. He was not involved in immediate play. No contact had occurred. No collision. Nothing unusual. Then suddenly he collapsed. Foé fell face first onto the grass. His body went completely limp. Players nearby immediately recognized something catastrophic had happened. They waved frantically for medical staff. Medical personnel sprinted onto the field. They found Foé unconscious and not breathing. Despite all efforts, Marc-Vivien Foé was pronounced dead about 45 minutes after collapsing. The cause was hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, a heart condition where the heart muscle thickens abnormally. Owen Hart.
R.I.P. him. That's just so, like, unfortunate. Like, you spent your whole life trying to perfect a craft in sports just to get to that point in life where you can't even play how you want to because your body's saying no. Your mind might say yes, but your body's saying no. And if you don't listen to your body, then stuff like this happens. R.I.P. him.
WWE. On May 23, 1999, Owen Hart prepared for his entrance at the WWE Over the Edge pay-per-view event in Kansas City. He was 34 years old and performing as the Blue Blazer, a superhero parody character. The entrance involved being lowered from the arena rafters on a cable. Hart was harnessed and lifted 78 feet above the ring. The mechanism used a quick-release system designed to allow him to dramatically drop the final few feet when near the ring. While hanging high above the crowd, the quick release was triggered accidentally. Hart plummeted 78 feet. He struck the top rope and flipped into the ring. The impact caused massive internal injuries.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. I'm the family. I'm suing the WWE. Ain't no way that just happened on accident, bro. Come on.
Medical personnel in the arena rushed to help. Despite emergency surgery, he was transported to Truman Medical Center, where he was pronounced dead from internal injuries and organ damage. Dale Earnhardt, NASCAR. On February
NASCAR, I get on the track by myself, but going 185 plus with all them other cars, man, hell no.
18th, 2001, Dale Earnhardt drove his black number 3 Chevrolet around Daytona International Speedway. The Daytona 500 was on its final lap. The biggest race of the NASCAR season was coming to a dramatic finish. Earnhardt was 49 years old and a 7-time NASCAR champion. He was known as the Intimidator for his aggressive driving style. He was a legend. His son Dale Earnhardt Jr. and teammate Michael Waltrip were running first and second. Earnhardt was running third, but he was not trying to win. He was blocking other cars behind him to protect his teammates. Suddenly, Sterling Marlin's car came up behind Earnhardt in turn 4. Contact was made.
He did that on purpose.
Earnhardt's car got loose. The rear end slid sideways. He tried to correct the slide, but before he could, Ken Schrader's car also made contact. The combined impacts sent Earnhardt's car shooting toward the...
If this happened to one of my men or my dad, well, fuck my dad. If this happened to one of my people,
came up behind Earnhardt,
closest partners, we're shooting the fade, because when I cross this finish line and get this win, we're shooting the fade, because ain't no way you did that on accident.
At that point, Earnhardt's car got loose. The rear end slid sideways. He tried to correct the slide, but before he could, Ken Schrader's car also made contact. The combined impacts sent Earnhardt's car shooting toward the outside wall. He was traveling approximately 155 miles per hour. The car hit the concrete barrier head-on. The sudden deceleration caused a basilar skull fracture. The base of Earnhardt's skull separated from his spine. The injury was instantly fatal. Safety crews reached the car quickly, but Earnhardt was unresponsive. He was extracted and transported to Halifax Medical Center in Daytona Beach. Dale Earnhardt was pronounced dead at the hospital at 5:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The 1955 Le Mans disaster, motorsport. On June 11, 1955, over 250,000 spectators gathered at Circuit de la Sarthe in France for the 24 Hours of Le Mans endurance race.
Okay, so this is in France stuff, so I don't know about this.
It was Saturday afternoon. Pierre Levey drove his Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR down the main straight at over 120 miles per hour. The race started at 4 p.m., Mike Hawthorne in a Jaguar was leading. He approached the pit lane entrance at high speed. His team was ready for a scheduled stop. Hawthorne suddenly braked hard to turn into the pits. Lance Macklin in his Austin Healey was directly behind. Macklin swerved left to avoid Hawthorne, moving directly into Leve's path. Leve had no time to react. His Mercedes struck the rear of Macklin's car. The impact launched it into the air like a ramp. The car flew almost 330 feet toward the spectator area. It struck the earthen embankment
No, it killed all them pedestrians
in front of the crowd. On impact, the car disintegrated. The Mercedes was constructed with a magnesium alloy body. Magnesium burns at extremely high temperatures. Suddenly, the car exploded into flames. Pierre Leve was killed instantly in the initial impact. His body was thrown from the car. The spectator area became a scene of horror. Bodies lay everywhere.
Damn, I never heard of this. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 spectators, maybe more.
Screaming was continuous.
Oh my
Burning
goodness.
wreckage ignited
It's
clothing.
some Final Destination shit for real.
People in panic. The magnesium fire could not be extinguished with water. It burned hotter when water touched it. Medical personnel worked frantically. Bodies were carried away. The injured were loaded into any available vehicles. Final casualty counts reached at least 82 dead and over 120 injured.
Whoa.
Final casualty counts reached at least 82 dead
82 people died. Oh my goodness.
and over 100
And 120 got injured. Man, I have nothing to say. To that,
injured. It remains the deadliest accident in motorsport history.
bro. Yeah.
If you'd like to see more stories,
Nah, that's actually bizarre. That last one really caught me by surprise. God, you killed 82 people and then injured 102. That just goes to show you that we should respect athletes more often. Athletes get paid what they're supposed to get paid. They're well paid. And it's the reason why, because everybody can't do what they do. If everybody could do what they do, then nobody would watch it, because nobody would care. But no, alright, rest in peace to all these people that tragically lost their life doing what they love. And I'm going to catch you niggas in the next one. Yes, sir.